Welcome to another episode of INkWA Talks Mini Chats, and thank you for joining us once again. If you haven't already, please do subscribe to the channel. You can find us on all social media platforms under INkWA Tattoos. That's INkWA TATTOOS. And that's INkWA Tattoos on all platforms: YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. We really use Twitter, but you can find us everywhere. Joining me today, I have the pleasure of having my good friend, might as well consider him my brother, joining me today. Now, I have worked with about 4 artists that have completely changed the way I've tattooed. I've worked with a lot of artists that have influenced the way I tattoo, but we're talking about made me completely change direction. One of them artists, as we already know, is Penicillin Quill, Papa P. The other one is a guy, you probably won't even want me to mention him, Craig. I think he's, what's his name now? Making mums cry or something like that. I think that's his name. Sure, no. I'll give him a little shout out anyway, yeah. Gingerbread Chris in DC completely changed the way I tattoo. And the last man is the man on the screen with me right now, Paku.Wale. How have you been, brother?
I'm good, thanks. I mean, that's somewhat an honor, I guess. That's a big introduction, eh?
It's the truth. It's the truth, man. All I can say is, like, since I've been working with you, my style's completely changed. I've added different dimensions to it, and you have to.
Well, yeah, I've been teaching you what not to do.
You could say that.
You cool though, yeah.
Yeah, I'm good, man.
Yeah,
I'm good. So, tell. I mean, I know a little bit of your journey of how you got into the tattoo industry. So for those who don't know, how did you find your way into it?
I wasn't really looking for it. I guess it just happened organically. I mean, I was always kind of drawing stuff and everything like that, but obviously tattooing is completely different. And yeah, I just the right people at the right time, you know. The first tattoo I got I was about 13, 14. Yeah, it was one of those. It was pretty. I don't know, you know, you're young, you know, you go somewhere and they allow you to do something. It was one of these like weed shops, you know, where they sell like seeds and all this shit. They closed down probably a few months after. I mean, I don't know if that was the reason, but they closed down. They were known for doing bad tattoos. It was in Watford. And yeah, I mean, it was one of the worst experiences of my life, really. You know, the guy just didn't care. I didn't know any information about what to do afterwards, so it was all, you know, learn from whatever, you know.
Yeah.
And then I didn't get tattooed for years later. Didn't even think about it. Didn't really like them that much. But looking back, I was always interested in all those little, you know, stick-on tattoos. When I was much younger. I remember finding them in like these little Kinder Egg things, you know, where you have stick-on tattoos and stuff. And
magazines and stuff.
They were always intriguing, you know. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Met the right people, I guess, and got a lot of good information from good artists, you know, people who are considered good artists. And I was just lucky to end up where I ended up, you know. Don't know if it was luck or if it was just, you know, being in the right place, you know. But yeah, luck, I guess that's what it is, you know.
So who would you say in the beginning of your journey was the right people that put you in the right direction? That kind of gave you a pathway to follow.
I mean, there's it was a big, massive, just everything at once, you know. I mean, I started getting well, I mean, I obviously had my daughter, and then there was a guy who had a full sleeve and his legs all done by a guy called Zed Lahed. He used to have a shop in Caledonian Road called Divine Canvas, and just the detail and stuff was amazing, you know. And then that pushed me to studying more about, you know, that kind of style of work and everything like that, and people around him. And, you know, that pushed me to learning about Curly and other people, you know, people who were working in other shops around London. And A big influence for me was a guy, well, is a guy called Steve Herring. I've talked about him a lot. He yeah, he's an old school tattoo artist, and he gave me a lot of information. Probably the most information anyone has given me on tattooing. He's given me files and stuff, you know, to look through and stuff, and I'm grateful for that. And that pushed me in a different direction as well. My work has always been more simplistic line work and, you know, stuff like that. It's just yeah, it's hard to put that stuff on the body, you know. It's harder to put, you know, straight lines on the body than curvy lines and all this stuff. You know, you realize the body is not symmetrical, even though it looks symmetrical. You know, things are just, you know, not the way they appear on paper. And when you start to put straight lines on things, it just doesn't look right in certain instances. So it's quite interesting to explore that, you know. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, I just like doing that. I don't know why, you know. I never, yeah, just enjoyed that side of things, you know.
I mean, you was a graffiti writer to begin with, right?
Yeah, I was doing a lot of graffiti, a lot of color work and stuff like that as well. A lot of characters, but yeah, just well, when I had my daughter, things became a bit more difficult, so I translated to paper. You know, I mean, you always had your black books and stuff like that while you were doing graffiti, but I mean, your primary thing was the spray can.
Yeah.
But that translated to paper, and I just ended up drawing indoors. And then, like I said, all those connections came at the right time. Matt Black is another big influence of mine. He helped me a lot in the beginning and stuff. He's a good friend of mine as well. And yeah, I mean, there's so many names I can say, you know, who have inspired me and who continue to inspire me. And it just keeps changing. I don't have a single inspiration. You inspire me, you know, people around me. There's always something you can learn and grow from other people, you know. So yeah, and the tattoo world is massive, so you don't know who's out there, you don't know what's happening now, and there's just so much different stuff going on. And yeah, I try and look a lot in nature and stuff rather than look at tattoos themselves anymore, because, you know, you can end up duplicating stuff by mistake, you know.
So what elements of nature do you feel that you draw on the most?
Well, plants are a good example. Spirals, all these things you see in nature, you know. But in general, anyway, you know, most of the tribal stuff is based on nature.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of the tribal stuff, like the Polynesian stuff, and yeah, Maori stuff, all that stuff is based on nature. You know, they're very close to nature and everything. A lot of the Polynesian stuff is obviously based around the sea animals, you know, and stuff around the sea, because that's what's around them, you know, around those areas, around those islands. So what you see is you try and put it in your tattoo work. I find it interesting how you can, you know, symbolize things. I find symbols very interesting, and how you can make them work, you know, to some extent, and you can give them character, in your own way, you know, like everything which is tribal, isn't, I mean, you know, is not specifically yours, you know, but I mean, in terms of any art, it's not specifically yours. No one owns it. You know, you have these moments of inspiration and all this stuff which you get, but it's not really your thing to own, you know what I mean? So I can't say, ooh, I invented this or I did this. That's, for me, that's bullshit, you know. Anyone that says that just, you know, I mean, you might have pushed the kind of thing, but, you know, there's always that growth which comes from you, and it will extend from you as well. But it didn't just come from nowhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It came from being inspired by others and that. So
yeah, I feel that there's obviously everything inspires everything and nothing's new under the sun. But I feel there's a way to, even in tribal work, you can do something and, like you said, add your own, you can personalize it and make it your own.
I mean, the only thing which, I mean, basically honesty. That's all you have to do, honesty, and put yourself into your work. You know, things don't work when you don't put yourself into your work, you know, and then it becomes something else. That's the hardest thing to do, you know, like to put yourself out there, because it becomes a personal kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that is a scary thing, you know, it's a scary thing. to some extent. But you know, when you get to the stage of not really caring, that's the best thing, really, the best feeling, I guess.
Yeah.
And that comes on and off, obviously. You know, you can't always be like a careless person, you know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, you've been tattooing the same amount of time as me, about 10, 11 years now, right?
I would say 10, yeah.
10 years. So
minus Corona.
that I was about to get into that. And for definitely for myself, I found that I don't know how it is for other ones listening, but I found them 10 years was like a bullet train. So it was just like wham, and then Corona hit, and then it was just this deafening silence of nothing for so long. And it was hard to deal with for a lot of people. A lot of people in the creative industry had to find a way to repackage and rebrand and rebuild, or whatever the re-up was, they had to re-up. How did you find the lockdowns, and how did you counter the almost, I want to say, the darkness that comes with lockdown? How did you get around it with your creativity?
Well, I mean, I find I'm luckier than most, you know. I mean, because I had my kids, so obviously I don't live with my kids, but it was just for me, it was being around them was just as important as tattooing. And you know how I've been working like the past like year or so, like kind of non-stop. It was a blessing to be able to spend time with them. So I didn't have that thing where I was, you know, wasting time. I mean, obviously the financial side of things, nothing was guaranteed, you know. Yeah, I just painted as much as I could, drew as much as I could. Sometimes did nothing because I couldn't, you know. You get that feeling that, you know, if you're not tattooing yet, what are you? You know, you feel like, you know, this is not, you know. But you know, in the end of the day, like, yeah, it's not going anywhere. It was hard not tattooing because obviously that's been a constant for a while in my life, and it was kind of getting to a steady pace where, you know, like, you know, it was just constant work and constant, you know, being able to get what you want to do and stuff like that, which takes a while in itself anyway. And that was the only worry, that, you know, you go back and if you're taking like 10 steps back and stuff like that, you know. But at the same time, it was time to reflect, to draw what you can, to draw anything, to draw in things from around you, beyond tattooing, you know. And yeah, and to fall in love with tattooing again, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, I think yeah, I mean, I just started like buying machines, you know, playing around with machines and stuff like that. And then you fall in love with like the first time you bought your, remember how hard it was to get a machine?
Yeah.
And yeah, you fall in love with those things, you know, again, which is beautiful, you know, I guess.
Yeah.
Coming back to work, it's like, you know, yeah, you're starting again, which is, yeah, amazing in itself.
It is. It's like I like to liken it to when a wrestler goes missing for a while and they come back, and it's just like, you know, that tension's been building up to come back, and then you just burst on the scene.
Yeah, with steroids, yeah.
Well, you know what? It's legal in the business, and plenty of people take it. So
yeah, no, I know what you mean, but yeah, it's good to have that freshness again, you know. And I guess that's what next week is about, you know. And yeah, I'm not, you know, at points I felt guilty about taking a break, but no, you know, I mean, you need that kind of break sometimes. It is a big part of my life, I guess, you know, a major part of my life. And yeah, I mean, I didn't know how I'd cope, but yeah, I don't know. Now that the end is near, it seems more tolerable than it was like a few weeks ago.
It does feel like, I think when you know there's a date you're working towards, you feel a bit more, you feel less inattention, you feel a bit more relaxed. You know, you feel like, well, something, there's going to be a change that's going to bring back some form of what we knew as normality.
And it was actually a good thing to get, you know, I mean, during this time, I haven't been on social media that much or anything like that. It was a good thing to get away from that, you know, get away from, you know, feeling like you have to post all the time and all this rubbish. There was a lot of other things going on, you know, so it was interesting to see the world in like outside work, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I do miss martial arts though, you know,
Yeah,
and
me
those
too.
things, you know, those are
Me
the two,
too.
like martial arts and tattooing. Yeah, those actually, they did affect me in the first few weeks, you know.
Yeah.
But now yeah, with martial arts, I'm basically going back to stage one. You know, that's what it feels like.
It's the best stage to be on martial arts, I'm telling you, especially if you've been to stage 2 or 3 and you go back to stage 1, just like tattooing, you know, when you stop and you come back to it, you find yourself almost wanting to go back to basics. You want to do some simple stuff. You want to rebuild again. You know, you can do the big stuff, but you want to do the basic stuff as well. So it's not a bad thing to go back to stage 1. But touching on what you said earlier about social media, well, when we got into the game, it was Facebook and MySpace, I think. It was MySpace.
Not even MySpace. I wasn't even using MySpace.
Tumblr?
Yeah, it was more
Tumblr.
Facebook.
It was a lot of Tumblr as well. It was a lot of Tumblr.
Yeah,
and social media is...
I'm no good on any social media. Like, I mean, MySpace, you know, all this Twitter, it's so confusing. My kids can probably do it better than me. You know, like, even I just found out that you can share videos and stuff on Instagram on your stories, you know. This was I discovered that like 2 weeks ago. So I'm like, oh shit, I didn't know that, you know. And I guess I don't want to involve myself or go too deep in it. But at the same time, when Instagram first opened up or whatever it was, when in its early stages you could communicate with people.
Yeah.
You know, you could see people and yeah, it was much more of a better platform for tattoo artists, I guess. I'm really grateful that, you know, I was there when it was what it was, because now it's more of a, you know, it's just pay for this, do this, you know, you can't, you can't communicate with certain people anymore, not because they don't want to communicate with you, but because, you know, you're kind of blocked, like they're not getting your messages, or, you know, you're just not seeing their work up anymore, you know, so it's not as personal as it used to be. But that's like with everything eventually kind of slowly dies out, you know. And I think it's good to be grateful that, you know, you were there when it was okay, you know, because some people, and for some people who just like jumped on social media in the past 2-3 years or anything like that, for them, they're at that stage where they think it's fine, but it's not what it used to be, you know. So
what do you mean? Because I know there's been a massive change in algorithm, and it's shifted everything now. I feel like with social media, it's almost like you're working on a certain tier. If you're within a certain, like your volume, your followers are almost like your currency. So it's who do you know what I mean? Who you link up with is dependent on.
Yeah, but you know, in the end of the day, you know, social media is social media. I'd rather live real life than social media.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
absolutely.
And you can see that, you know, people actually, you know, they I mean, you can create a whole life on social media, and you can actually become that person if you're so if you spend, you know, 23 hours on social media and you live 1 hour of your life outside social media is more valid than your actual life.
Yeah.
So, you know, you actually become that person eventually in that 1 hour of your life, because it's just so much of what you're doing. But before, I think it was kind of the opposite, where, you know, people were, you know, posting, bang, and then doing their life. And so it kind of seemed more real. But obviously there is, I mean, when Instagram first opened, you wouldn't have thought that it was what it was now, you know, or it would have been what it is now. I mean, I doubt anyone would have thought that, you know. I mean, it's ridiculous. Like even Facebook and all these things, and Twitter, you know, like those are the things which control the world now, you know.
Yeah, but how? I mean, they do kind of control the world, and I think they had a plan of how they were gonna. I think the way Instagram and social media are, but I think the way they are is is the way they're meant to be. I think everything has been played out exactly how they wanted it to play out, and they've gotten what they want, and they're getting what they want out of people in terms of the way people are reacting. In terms of the people who are running the app.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but you know, as well, it would be yeah, it would be kind of romantic to think that, you know, it's just chaos. You know what I mean? That no one knows what is going on. But obviously, you know, it's not. Yeah. But in there's good things out of it. I get work from it.
There are good things out of it. That was going to be my next question.
There's obviously a balance in staying earth and connected to what's real. You know, which can become problematic. You know, and when you can sense that it's becoming problematic to yourself, you have to know how to switch off.
Yeah.
In terms of, you know, I really don't like how it's glorified, you know, like, I mean, but this is all like all those TV programs, you know, I mean, Miami INkWA was big, but, you know, all the other stuff which is coming now, and, you know, that was the first of a lot of, it got worse after, you know.
But you know what, saying that though, Miami INkWA is one of the shows that made me say, tattooing, this could be a way forward. I think a lot of artists who have been serving the industry now for 10 years around that time frame, a lot of them got into tattooing because of Miami INkWA and because of
I mean, I don't agree with, I mean, you know, the way it was advertised and all this stuff, because I mean, yeah, you can't do a tattoo in half an hour or whatever.
No, that's just good editing.
At the same time, you know, I mean, they're good artists.
They're really good artists.
You know, now there's shows where there's bad artists, and that's what, you know, the standard is. Whereas there's shows where, you know, it's not even about the art anymore. I think Miami INkWA was I actually don't want to talk about, you know.
You started now. You've opened Pandora's box. You have to continue.
Yeah, but let's close it quick. But I mean, I think you know, yeah, like with Instagram, you know, it was an idea, and it was pushed. Not that I agree with it or not, but it was something which there were good artists on there.
Yeah.
But now, I mean, if you start to see stuff like, you know, I don't know, that Black Ink, whatever, I don't know, man. I guess it's more about drama than anything else.
Yeah.
And you know, it's not about tattooing. It's not about tattooing.
Yeah, it's not.
At least, you know, that Miami INkWA show, even though it destroyed a lot of things or made people think, oh, you know, tattooing is something different. At least they're respectable artists on it, you know?
Yeah. I mean, a fair judgment would be to say that it's based around tattooing in terms of the name and the odd activity of a tattoo studio. But other than that, it's a reality show about the so-called lives of tattoo artists. Yeah. So I think that's the best way that I can put it. But Miami INkWA, you were right, was done differently. But then I would expect that from the TV industry.
Yeah.
So, I mean, as we know with a video that's been circulating, the industry is very corrupt.
Which one? Yeah, let's not go into that.
We won't go into that. But what we will go into is we'll go into some spin the wheel questions that I've had sent to me from a few clients. So we'll do the first spin now. See what comes up. Done that one already. I was supposed to take these ones out, but you know.
What was that one? Oh, cool.
Done that one as well. Third time lucky, yeah? Third time lucky. We'll get it. Okay. We haven't done this one. Anonymous. Are inks potentially toxic? Have heard they cause skin cancer.
Sorry?
Do you want me to read that again?
Yeah.
This is from an anonymous person. They didn't want me to read their name out. Are tattoo inks potentially toxic? Have heard they cause skin cancer.
I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
Me neither.
You know, all the inks are different and produced differently. So I mean, we can't really specifically know. I mean, I think it's just bullshit and people trying to regulate stuff. You
Yeah,
know,
I think you need to take into account everybody. Like, it's going to be different for different people.
yeah, I can't answer that question as a, you know, I mean, tattooing has been around for so long that, you know, I don't think it's, you know, I mean, when it comes to, I guess some inks can be problematic, but those which are not regulated, you know,
Yeah.
there's a lot of work which goes into creating inks in themselves. You know, I don't think it's something which is just kind of ignored, or, you know, like kind of blasé, like, oh yeah, just put this in there or whatever. You know, obviously it's a company which want longevity and or whatever, you know. And in terms of, yeah, I mean, just you need to know what inks you're using. You know, you can't, you know, you can buy fake inks and weird and stuff which people just sell as tattoo inks on the internet. Just buy from a company which has been regulated, I guess, to some extent.
Yeah.
And yeah, but inks work differently on different people.
That's
But
it.
again, you know, people need to realize that tattooing is, well, the way it's going now, a lot of the stuff which is coming out is fresh and new. So it's very hard for anyone to say, you know, what it can cause in the long run. But I don't think that anything has been proven to cause cancer and all these things, which scare tactics, which are people trying to regulate the industry just to make a bit of money off it. You know, for me, it's just bullshit. I mean, if you can prove that it does those things, then yeah, but it's just scare tactics, really.
Yeah, it's just a way of regulating another industry, basically.
Yeah.
So let's move on to the next question. I think we come to the end of that one. Fuck's sake, we've done that one already as well. I feel like we've been through a lot of these questions and I haven't taken them off. That's gonna be a no. Okay, I'm gonna read it anyway, but I know the answer's no. This is from one of the members of INkWA Talks, actually. I'm not gonna read out which one it was. Have you ever done a tattoo with your eyes closed? This is clearly not a tattoo artist member of the show.
What, you mean sleeping?
I think there was some wind up.
Spin it again.
Okay, this is from Fran Janice. How do I get started in the industry? And she needs some help. This is her question. How do you get started within the tattoo industry? What would you advise, Wale?
Don't do it. I'm joking. That's a bit rude, isn't it? No, but everyone's path is different. You know, it's very hard to. I don't think you should, you know, just go into any old shop. You need to do your research and you know, make sure that it is something you want to do, because it's quite a serious thing as well. You know, like, how many times do you get headaches from tattooing, you know, certain people? And you know, it doesn't get easier.
Yeah.
You know, I'll put it that way. It doesn't get easier. It looks fun. It's not fun, but you know, if you really want to do it, you'll find a way, and that's through research. You know, really.
Absolutely.
You'll find a way. And it's so easy to learn. But you know,
don't go that far. It's not that easy to learn.
No, I mean, now there's so much information out there, so it's easy to learn, but you can learn to be bad. You know what I mean? You can learn the wrong way. Yeah. But you know, it just, if you just ask yourself, what are the reasons why you want a tattoo? Because a lot of the time, you know, some people, there's glamorization of the industry, but man, what time do I leave the studio most of the time?
Yeah, way after me.
And what time do I arrive when I can? And how many days do I have off?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if you're ready to do a 7-hour work week, go for it, you know, and you find a way. I mean, just do your research, what you like, what you want to say. as well is important, you know, because if you're going to come in and just duplicate what everyone else is doing, is there really a point?
Yeah.
You know,
I think as well, finding an environment that is conducive to your learning is important as well. I think a lot of people who want to tattoo think they're going to go into, excuse me, every studio and it's going to be the same experience and they're going to get the same thing. And I think there's this hidden myth amongst young Black people coming into the game. And I'm going to put this out here. The whole society as a whole is sick. And there's a lot of racist people. When I say racist, I mean racist, not prejudice, racist people out there that will do things to put you in a bad position. So there's certain little bits of education you're going to have to learn before, because you're basically going into just another workplace. Don't think that you're going into somewhere that it's going to be fun and happy and everybody's going to love you and it's this no color barrier area. I mean, just go into it thinking clearly and
Sorry. Yeah, I do find, like what you said, I mean, there are a lot, but at the same time, you know, like now I think there might be a bit less of that, because a lot of the artists now, they didn't come from the same backgrounds as what people came from, you know, like 10, 15 years ago, you know, so there is a bit less anger, or, you know, there's a bit less, it's a bit easier, you know,
I personally think it's just a bit more covert. I think I'm going to leave by, that's my little bit on the table there. It's a bit more covert. When you're going into a studio and you're looking for an apprenticeship, if you get that apprenticeship and you feel like you're in a position where you're not comfortable or you're not happy, just leave. Just leave. Yeah, and they don't own the tattoo industry.
I think the main thing is if how you want to get into it, just take your time.
Yeah.
Just take your time, because people want to, you know how hard it is to tattoo a line. You know, it seems easy. It seems like you know, you get many calls, especially since COVID hit. Oh, I want to jump into the tattoo industry because it seems like, yeah, but you know, can you do a line? Can you pull a line? You know, it's not as easy, and it's frustrating. But you know, I guess if you really want to do something, you'll pull through it. You know, that's the thing. Take your time, and do what you think is right. You know, do what you think is right, and you know, learn. Be willing to learn. Like I said, most people some people jump in and they're able to, you know, be amazing artists within, you know, 1 year or 2 years or whatever. Yeah, but I mean, you know, don't think that's the way it works for everyone else.
Yeah, that's not your journey.
And also most people, they go through a hard time, you know, just because, you know, someone's creating what you may consider great work now, it doesn't mean it was easy. You know, there's a lot which went into it, and there's a lot going into it at the same time. You know, so it's not an easy industry. If you jump into it, and you really want to do it, it's an easy industry if you don't care. You know, it's an easy industry if you don't care. You can fool a lot of people and do a lot of things if you don't care, because there's a lot of TV shows out there which people of your standard, if you don't care, are still, you know, able to operate on, and you can fool a lot of people. But for how long do you want to be doing it, you know? And what are your personal intentions? So the best thing to do, I mean, like with everything, is read on what you like, on what you want to say, on what you want to do, and know that the journey is pretty fucked up. As simple as it is, yeah. The journey is pretty fucked up. You know, you're not gonna be a tattoo artist in 1 year. I mean, you know, people want that title. You know, I'm a tattoo artist. It's not even a nice. I don't even. You know, I don't like being called a tattoo artist. Like, just glamour. But you know, it's But realistically, it's just do your thing and stay in your lane. You know. People learn at different times, but eventually, you know, if you continue and push and you really want something, you'll get there.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, how to get into the industry, I don't know. My journey is different from your journey, you know. I can't tell you I can't. My journey is probably not the way anyone else's journey went, and your journey is not the way mine went, you know? So I can't tell you.
All right.
An exact answer.
All right, cool. Let's wrap it up there. Give thanks for being on the show, brother. It was
Is that it? 5 minutes?
Yeah, that was it. 5 minutes done. That was the quickest 5 minutes ever. No, but again, thank you for being on the show. It's been a pleasure. If you don't already know, that Boale is a core member of the INkWA Talks podcast. This is the one that we record in person. So you will see him on that show as well, airing his views and giving his points out. So yeah, do you want to tell the people where they can find you? Instagram, Facebook, how they can book with you, and
Facebook I don't use for tattoos. Instagram, my Instagram is Paku Wale.
I don't know, it's your Instagram, bro.
I don't even know my 1 second.
What is this life, bro?
No, I always do. I did it last time as well. Like, yeah, Paku Wale. Yeah, Paku.BWALE. That's my Instagram. Or just Google Paku Wale or something. You'll probably find some shit up somewhere, you know. Contact me via email. My email's on my Instagram. Instagram's the only platform I use because I'm not really good at any other platforms or anything like that. But yeah, that's me.
All right, cool.
Or come to the studio.
Yeah, come to the studio. If you wish to book a tattoo with us, you can find us at www.inkwtattoos.co.uk, and you can just go through all of our portfolios, have a look on our shop.
I do prefer talking to people before tattooing them anyway, so.
Yeah, you can book yourself a consultation. Just drop us a message. We'll get back to you, and then we'll get the whole process started. But again, give thanks for watching. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. You can find us on YouTube, INkWA Tattoos. Please also subscribe to VTure, that's VTURE. That is where our live podcast will be airing from. So please subscribe to them as well. Let's get all these numbers up and moving, and see you on the next episode.
All right.